single dad and his daughter found a dying stranger. What they did next left everyone stunned. It was a freezing Tuesday morning in rural Ohio, and 9-year-old Maya was already running late for school. Her dad, Tom, was exhausted working 2 jobs, raising his daughter alone, and barely keeping the lights on. They had nothing extra to give. But what happened on that quiet stretch of road between their little house and the school bus stop would change their lives forever and remind the entire country what it really means to be human. Some moments don't ask if you're ready, they just arrive, and how you respond to them says everything about who you are. Subscribe out. Before we get into this story, if you're new here, welcome. This is Heartfelt Moments, the channel where we share true stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop a comment below, telling us about a time someone's kindness changed your day. Your stories mean everything to this community. Now let's get back to Tom and Maya. Main story: Tom was a quiet man. Stocky, broad-shouldered, with calloused hands from years of warehouse work, and the kind of tired eyes that come from raising a child on your own. His wife had passed away when Maya was just 3 years old, and since then, it had just been the two of them figuring out the world one day at a time. Maya was everything to him. Bright, curious, the kind of kid who asked too many questions, and never stopped talking. She had her mother's laugh, and her father's stubbornness, and Tom loved every complicated inch of her. That particular morning was bitter cold, the kind of January freeze that settles into your bones before you even step outside. Tom had bundled Maya up in her bright pink coat, her little backpack bouncing as they walked the half-mile to the bus stop. He was already mentally running through the day warehouse shift until 2, then over to the diner for the dinner rush. He'd pick Maya up from the after-school program at 8. That was when they saw him. At first, Tom thought it was a pile of old clothes someone had dumped in the ditch alongside the road. But Maya grabbed his hand and pulled him forward. "Daddy," she whispered. "I think that's a person." She was right. The man was elderly, maybe 70, maybe older. He was lying half in the ditch, half on the frozen gravel shoulder, his lips pale and his breathing shallow. He wore only a thin jacket, completely wrong for the weather, and one of his shoes was missing. He wasn't unconscious, but he was close. His eyes fluttered open when Tom knelt beside him, but he couldn't form words. Tom's first thought was practical. He didn't have time for this. He was already behind. He had bills piling up, a shift he couldn't afford to miss, and a daughter who needed to get to school. But then Maya crouched down beside the old man and took his cold hand in both of hers. She looked up at her dad with those big serious eyes and said, "We can't just leave him, Daddy." Tom pulled out his phone and called 911. Then he took off his own coat, his only winter coat, and laid it across the man. He told Maya to sit close to the stranger, sharing her warmth while he stayed on the line with the dispatcher. For 20 minutes, on that frozen road in the gray morning light, a little girl held the hand of a man she'd never met, and talked to him softly, the way you'd talk to someone you loved. She told him about her hamster, about her favorite teacher, about how her dad made the best grilled cheese in Ohio. The paramedics arrived, and said the man whose name turned out to be Gerald had suffered a medical episode while walking, and had been lying there for over an hour. Another 30 minutes, they said, and it might have been a very different story. Tom missed his morning shift. Maya missed school. They sat together in the hospital waiting room, drinking vending machine hot chocolate, until they heard Gerald was stable. What happened next is what makes this story something else entirely. Gerald's daughter, a woman named Carol, arrived at the hospital that afternoon in tears. She'd been searching for her father since the night before he had early-stage dementia, and had wandered from his home. When she found out it was a single father, and his little girl who had stayed, and saved him, she broke down completely. She tracked down Tom's employer, and explained why he had missed his shift. His manager, moved by the story, not only gave Tom his hours back, but gave him a small bonus. Carol quietly reached out to the school and told Maya's teacher what she had done. The teacher shared the story with the class, then with the principal, and eventually with the local news station. Within days, the community had rallied around Tom in ways he never expected. Neighbors brought groceries. A local coat drive donated a new winter jacket, and one for Maya too. A small business owner in town, hearing that Tom worked 2 jobs just to make ends meet, offered him a single full-time position at better pay. But what Tom said in his one brief interview is what stayed with people. A reporter asked him why he stopped when so many others might not have. He looked at his daughter standing beside him, and he said, "Because she would have, and I want her to keep being that kind of person." Closing, Maya didn't discover a cure or change the laws of the land. She just held an old man's hand on a cold road and refused to walk away. And in doing so, she reminded everyone around her that kindness isn't about having enough, it's about giving what you have in the moment you're needed. We never know what one small act of compassion will set in motion. A coat offered on a freezing morning, a little girl's voice cutting through the cold. A father choosing to be the example he wanted his daughter to follow. The world doesn't change all at once. It changes one frozen roadside, one small hand, one quiet act of courage at a time. Go be that person today. You never know whose life you might save or how much your own might change in return. End card. Subscribe to heartfelt moments, like and share, comment below. What's one act of kindness you'll never forget?